The day the aliens came to Earth was sunny. No one expected visitors from space on a Tuesday. But that's when they arrived. The giant ship appeared over New York City without warning. It hung in the air like a shining metal cloud. People stopped and stared. Some ran away. Others took pictures with their phones. "This is not a drill," said the voice on TV. "An alien spacecraft has entered Earth's atmosphere." Alan Grant sat in his office at the United Nations building. As Earth's top diplomat, he knew this moment would change everything. His phone rang nonstop. World leaders wanted answers he didn't have. "Sir, they're asking to speak with our leaders," said his assistant, Cynthia Reeves. She handed him a tablet. On the screen was a message in perfect English. "Greetings from the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic relations." Alan took a deep breath. "Tell them we accept their invitation to talk." 3 hours later, Alan and Cynthia stood in a large conference room. With them were 5 military officers, including Commander Paul Harris of the Earth Defense Force. Paul didn't trust the aliens. His hand stayed close to his gun. A beam of light appeared in the center of the room. When it faded, 3 aliens stood there. They looked almost like humans, but their skin was blue and they had no hair. Their eyes were large and purple. "I am Ambassador Zetkri of the Vosgian species," said the tallest one. "I represent the Galactic Confederation, a union of 47 spacefaring civilizations." Alan stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth. I am Alan Grant, representing the United Nations of Earth." The aliens seemed surprised. "You are very calm for a species experiencing first contact." Alan smiled. "We've been expecting you for a long time. In movies, at least." Cynthia stepped forward with a tablet. "We've prepared some questions, if you don't mind." The aliens looked at each other. The one called Zetkri spoke again. "Your species adapts quickly. This is good. We have much to discuss." For the next 2 hours, they talked. The aliens explained that the Confederation had been watching Earth for decades. They decided to make contact when humans began serious space exploration. "We would like to invite Earth to join the Confederation," said Zetkri. "As a protected species, of course." "Protected species?" asked Paul, speaking for the first time. "What does that mean?" "It is our lowest membership tier," explained Zetkri, "for young species who need guidance. In time, you may advance to higher status." Paul's face turned red. "We're not children who need protection." Alan put a hand on Paul's arm. "What Commander Harris means is that we value our independence." The meeting continued, but the mood had changed. When the aliens left, promising to return the next day, Paul stayed behind with Alan and Cynthia. "They're looking down on us," said Paul. "Did you notice how they acted like we're primitive?" Cynthia nodded. "But think about what they're offering. Advanced technology, space travel, medicine." "At what cost?" asked Paul. "No one gives gifts without wanting something in return." Alan looked out the window at the alien ship. "We need to be careful, but this is the chance humanity has been waiting for. We can learn from them. Or they can learn from us," said Paul. "I'm going to prepare my team, just in case." The next day, Earth agreed to a limited partnership with the Confederation. Scientists would exchange information. Cultural teams would visit each other's worlds. But Earth did not accept protected status. As the alien ship left orbit, Paul Harris stood in his office. He looked at the stars and made a promise. "We'll show them what humans can do. And if they're not really friendly, they'll learn why they should fear us." The first step into a larger universe had been taken. Humanity was no longer alone. But the journey ahead would not be easy. 6 months passed since the aliens first came to Earth. Now it was time for humans and aliens to learn about each other. The Confederation sent 20 aliens to live on Earth. Earth sent 20 humans to visit alien worlds. Olivia Monroe was one of those humans. She was a firefighter from Chicago who was chosen because she was brave and good with people. Now she found herself on a space station filled with aliens from many worlds. "The air here is so clean," she said to her guide, a tall green alien named Jex. "It almost feels too pure. Our filters remove all harmful particles," Jex explained. "Most species in the Confederation cannot breathe what humans consider normal air." Olivia noticed that many aliens watched her with strange looks. Some seemed afraid. Others were curious. She tried to be friendly, but it wasn't easy. One day, during a tour of the station, alarms started to sound. Smoke filled the hallway. 3 small blue aliens fell to the ground, unable to breathe. "Silani diplomats," Jex cried out. "The smoke will kill them in minutes." Without thinking, Olivia pulled her shirt over her mouth and ran into the smoke. She found the 3 aliens gasping on the floor. One by one, she carried them to safety. When she brought the last one out, she coughed a few times and then asked for water. The aliens stared at her in shock. "How are you still standing?" asked a doctor. "That smoke contains chemicals that should have knocked you unconscious." Olivia shrugged. "I'm a firefighter. I've breathed worse." News of what she did spread quickly through the station. Soon all the aliens treated her differently. They wanted to know more about humans. How much heat could they stand? How long could they go without water? Why didn't the smoke kill her? Back on Earth, the aliens were making similar discoveries. Dr. Kevin Wells ran tests with the alien visitors at his lab in Boston. He found that humans were much tougher than most Confederation species. "Your average human can survive conditions that would kill most of us," said an alien scientist named Trell. "Your world would be classified as a death world by our standards." "A death world?" asked Kevin. "What does that mean?" "A planet with conditions so harsh that most intelligent life cannot evolve there," Trell explained. "High gravity, extreme temperatures, dangerous animals, poisonous plants. Earth has all of these." Kevin laughed. "We just call it home." The alien looked troubled. "I have sent my findings to the Confederation Science Council. They are concerned." "Concerned about what?" "About what it means to have Deathworlders join Galactic Society." Commander Paul Harris received reports from all the human representatives. He sat in his office reading about how aliens reacted to human strength and endurance. One report said an alien nearly fainted when they saw a human eat spicy food. Another told how aliens were amazed that humans could break bones and recover. "Sir," said his assistant, bringing in more files, "you should see this. The Confederation has created a special file on humans. They've labeled us as potentially dangerous." Paul smiled. "Good. Let them be careful around us." "But sir, some aliens are suggesting we should be restricted. They're afraid of us." "Fear can be useful," said Paul. "It means they'll think twice before trying to control us." Across the galaxy, the Confederation High Council met to discuss the human problem. Videos showed Olivia carrying aliens through smoke. Other clips showed humans lifting heavy weights or eating foods that would poison aliens. "They are stronger than we thought," said one council member, "and their military prepares for war constantly." "Perhaps offering them protected status was a mistake," said another. "They don't need our protection. We might need protection from them." A message arrived from Earth. The humans wanted to send more representatives. They wanted to learn more about the galaxy. The council members looked at each other nervously. No one wanted to say no to the humans. The trade talks were not going well. 5 human diplomats sat on one side of a large metal table. 6 aliens from the Tellari species sat on the other side. The Tellari wanted Earth minerals for very little in return. Jack Bennett was the youngest human at the table. This was his first big meeting. Before becoming a diplomat, he had been a soldier. He didn't like how the Tellari were talking to the humans. "Your planet has more iron than you need," said the lead Tellari. "We offer you basic medical technology in exchange for mining rights." Linda Porter, Earth's main ambassador, shook her head. "The technology you offer is not worth the mining rights you want. We need a better deal." The Tellari leader made a sound like laughter. What would barely evolved primates know about fair deals? You should be grateful we talked to you at all. The room went quiet. The human diplomats looked shocked. Linda started to speak, but Jack stood up. I think, Jack said in a calm voice, you should take those words back. The Tellari laughed again. Or what human? Will you complain to the High Council? No one will care what a primitive species thinks. Jack looked at Linda. She gave a small nod. Jack turned back to the Tellari. He put his hands on the metal table. I want to show you something about us primitive humans, he said. With one quick movement, Jack pushed down on the table. The metal bent under his hands. Then he pulled up sharply. The table broke in half with a loud crack. The Tellari jumped back in fear. Their eyes went wide. That was solid metal, Jack said, still very calm. I broke it with my bare hands. Now imagine what our soldiers could do if we ever felt threatened. He sat back down. Would you like to start the talks again? With respect this time. One of the Tellari was recording the meeting. The video spread through the Confederation faster than anyone expected. Soon, everyone in the galaxy was watching a human break a metal table. Linda Porter faced angry questions from the Confederation High Council. This display of violence is concerning, said the council leader. Is this how Earth conducts diplomacy? The Tellari insulted humanity, Linda explained. Jack Bennett showed restraint. He could have done worse. Restraint? A council member asked. He destroyed property. He made a point, Linda said. Humans will not be treated as lesser beings. We want fair treatment or no deals at all. Back on Earth, Paul Harris watched the video of Jack breaking the table. He smiled. Good work, Bennett, he said to himself. Now they know. Paul looked at new reports coming in. Some alien groups wanted to limit human involvement in the Confederation. Others wanted to study humans more. A few even suggested keeping humans on Earth for safety. They're afraid of us, Paul told his team. But fear can lead to bad decisions. We need to be ready if they decide we're too dangerous to have around. Across the galaxy, people talked about humans. They shared stories and videos. Rumors spread fast. Did you hear? Humans can regrow limbs. I heard they can see in the dark, like Noctari hunters. My friend said humans fight each other for fun. Most of these stories weren't true, but they made aliens more worried about humans. In a private meeting room, the High Council debated what to do. Perhaps we should restrict their movement, one member suggested. Keep them in certain areas only. And if they refuse, asked another, would you try to force them? After seeing what they can do, we must decide if humans are too dangerous for integration. A third member said, for the safety of all Confederation species. The debate continued late into the night. No one noticed the small message coming in from the outer rim. A research station had gone silent. Then another. Something was happening at the edge of Confederation space. Something that would change everything. The emergency meeting of the Confederation High Council was called in the middle of the night. Alarms rang throughout the Great Hall. Members rushed in, some still in sleeping clothes. 3 more stations have gone silent, announced the council leader. And we have lost contact with the colony on Veros 4. Maps showed on the big screen. Red dots marked the places where contact was lost. All were in the outer rim of Confederation space. What is happening? Asked one council member. An old alien stepped forward. He looked tired and scared. The Kryvacs have returned. The room went silent. Then everyone started talking at once. Impossible. The Kryvacs were wiped out 500 years ago. Who are the Kryvacs? This cannot be happening. The old alien raised his hands. I have seen the sensor readings. I have seen the ship designs. It is them. The Kryvacs are back, and they are attacking our worlds. The Kryvacs were thought to be extinct. They had been the most feared warriors in the galaxy. Long ago, the Confederation had barely defeated them after a terrible war. Our defense forces are on the way, said the military commander. They will protect our people. 3 days later, bad news arrived. The Confederation ships had been defeated. The Kryvax weapons cut through their shields like they weren't there. 20 ships were lost. The Kryvax were moving deeper into Confederation space. We have not fought a real war in centuries, admitted the military commander. Our forces are not ready for this. A quiet voice spoke from the back of the room. Perhaps we can help. It was Linda Porter, the human ambassador. The council had forgotten she was there. What can humans do against such a threat? Asked the council leader. Humans understand war, Linda said simply. It's something we've never forgotten how to do. The council members looked at each other. They were desperate. Finally, the council leader nodded. Send your best military experts. We will listen to what they have to say. Colonel Frank Mitchell had never seen anything like the Confederation Defense Command. It looked more like a museum than a military headquarters. Everything was clean and beautiful. Officers wore fancy uniforms with no signs of wear. No one seemed to be in a hurry, even though worlds were falling to the enemy. This is your command center? Frank asked his guide. Yes, it has stood for 2,000 years, the alien said proudly. Frank looked around at the officers talking quietly. Where's the urgency? Don't they know you're losing a war? We have not lost a major conflict in 5 centuries, the guide explained. The proper procedures will be followed. Procedures won't save lives, Frank said. He turned to his team of human military experts. We have work to do. For the next week, Frank and his team studied the Kryvax. They watched recordings of battles. They examined Confederation weapons and ships. What they found was troubling. Your military is designed for parades, not war, Frank told the Confederation generals. Your ships are beautiful, but poorly armed. Your soldiers have never faced real combat. The generals were angry, but they couldn't argue with the facts. More worlds had fallen. The Kryvax were getting closer to the core systems. What do you suggest? Asked the Supreme Commander. Let us train your troops in real combat tactics, Frank said. And let us modify your weapons. We have ideas that might work against the Kryvax shields. Your species has been in space for less than a year, said one general. What could you possibly know that we don't? Frank's face turned serious. We know war. While you've been at peace for centuries, we've been fighting each other. We've learned the hard way what works and what doesn't. After more bad news from the front lines, the Confederation gave in. Human military advisors were assigned to Confederation ships and bases. Most alien officers resisted at first, but as the Kryvax moved closer, resistance turned to desperate hope. Maybe the dangerous humans could save them after all. Dr. Diane Rogers worked day and night in the lab. She had not slept for 2 days. Empty coffee cups sat on her desk. Papers covered with notes and drawings were spread everywhere. The Kryvax shields work by changing their frequency, she said to her alien assistant. That's why your weapons can't get through. The assistant, a small purple alien named Vex, looked confused. But our weapons are the most advanced in the galaxy. They should work. Diane picked up a Confederation energy rifle. Your weapons are pretty, but they all fire at the same frequency. The Kryvax learned how to block that frequency centuries ago. 5 more human scientists worked in other parts of the lab. They were all trying to solve the same problem: how to defeat the Kryvax shields. What if we make the weapon change frequencies rapidly? Diane asked. Like this. She drew a new design on paper. Vex studied it. Our weapons are not designed to be changed. Then we'll redesign them, Diane said simply. While the scientists worked, human military advisors were changing how the Confederation fought. Captain Greg Wilson stood on the bridge of a Confederation warship. He watched as the alien crew practiced new battle moves. Faster, Greg called out. The Kryvax won't wait while you check the manual. The ship's captain looked unhappy. We have procedures that have worked for centuries. Those procedures were designed for peacetime, Greg said. War is different. You must react quickly or die. At first, the alien crew had resisted Greg's changes. They thought humans were too aggressive, too willing to take risks. But after 3 Confederation fleets were defeated, they started to listen. "The Kryvax have entered the Talaris system," reported a crew member. "They will reach the main planet in 6 hours." Greg turned to the captain. "This is our chance to try the new tactics. We can set up an ambush here." He pointed to a spot on the map. The captain hesitated. "An ambush is dishonorable." Greg tried not to show his frustration. "War isn't about honor. It's about winning. Would you rather be honorable and dead, or dishonorable and alive?" After a long moment, the captain nodded. "We will try your way, human." Back in the lab, Diane had a breakthrough. She connected the modified weapon to a power source. It hummed loudly. "It's working," she shouted. "The frequency modulator is stable." Vex looked at the readings. "This changes the energy output 10 times per second. Our engineers said this was impossible." Diane smiled. "Humans are good at doing impossible things when our lives depend on it." Word of the weapon modification spread quickly. Soon, every Confederation ship wanted the human upgrade. Diane's team worked around the clock to produce modulator units. In the Talaris system, Greg's ambush plan was put into action. 3 Confederation ships hid behind a moon. When the Kryvax fleet passed by, they attacked from behind. For the first time, Confederation weapons broke through Kryvax shields. 2 enemy ships were destroyed before they could react. The rest of the Kryvax fleet turned to fight, but the Confederation ships used the new human tactics. They moved unpredictably. They focused fire on one target at a time. When the battle ended, the Kryvax had retreated. The Confederation had won its first victory. News of the success spread throughout the galaxy. Humans were suddenly in high demand. Every ship wanted a human advisor. Every weapons team wanted the human modifications. In the Confederation High Council, members who had feared humans now praised them. "The humans have saved the Talaris system," announced the council leader. "Perhaps we misjudged them." Linda Porter, the human ambassador, stood to speak. "Humans can be dangerous, yes, but we fight hardest when protecting others. The Confederation is now under our protection." The council members looked at each other. They were not sure if they should be relieved or worried by this statement. Meanwhile, at the edge of Confederation space, Earth ships were arriving. They carried human soldiers ready for battle. The real war was about to begin. Maria Sanchez looked at the star map floating in the air. Red dots showed Kryvax ships. Blue dots showed Confederation ships. She moved her hand through the map, thinking. "We keep fighting their warships," she said, "but that's not where they are weakest." The alien commanders in the room looked confused. Maria was a human military strategist. The Confederation had asked for her help after humans proved useful in battle. "The goal of war is to destroy the enemy fleet," said one alien commander. "This is how war has always been fought." Maria shook her head. "The goal of war is to win. Sometimes that means not fighting at all." She pointed to lines connecting the red dots. "These are supply routes. The Kryvax need fuel, food, and weapons, just like we do. What if we attack here instead of fighting their warships?" The alien commanders looked shocked. "Attack unarmed supply ships. That would be dishonorable." Maria tried not to show her frustration. The aliens were too focused on honor and rules. That's why they were losing the war. "The Kryvax are destroying your worlds," she said firmly. "They don't care about honor. If we don't stop them, billions will die." After much debate, the commanders agreed to try her plan. Small, fast ships would slip behind enemy lines. They would attack supply ships and bases, not the main fleet. On the front lines, humans were fighting alongside aliens. Sergeant Nancy Clark led a team of mixed human and alien soldiers. They were sent to defend an important communication station on a small moon. The station must not fall, their commander had told them. Hold it at all costs. The Kryvax attacked at dawn. They came in waves, climbing the hill toward the station. Nancy's team fired from behind walls and rocks. "Stay down," she shouted as energy blasts hit around them. One of the alien soldiers, a tall blue Xilani, was hit in the arm. "I must retreat," the Xilani said, looking at the wound. "I cannot fight with one arm." Nancy showed him her own left arm. It had a deep scar from elbow to wrist. "I got this on Earth," she said. "Kept fighting for 3 hours after. You can keep fighting too." The Xilani looked surprised but nodded and picked up his weapon again. For 6 hours, they held the hill. When reinforcements finally arrived, only Nancy and 2 others were still fighting. The rest were wounded or dead. The Kryvax bodies lay in piles at the bottom of the hill. "How did you hold out so long?" asked the rescue team leader. Nancy just shrugged. "We had a job to do." Word of Nancy's stand spread quickly through the Confederation forces. So did stories of Maria's new strategy working. For the first time, the Kryvax were losing ground. In the Confederation High Council, reports came in from all fronts. "The humans are changing everything," said the military commander. "They fight differently. They think differently." "They are brutal," said another council member. "They attack supply ships. They set traps. They fight even when wounded." "But they are winning," said the council leader. "That is what matters now." On a Kryvax command ship, the war leaders were worried. They had expected an easy victory over the soft Confederation. They had not expected humans. "These humans do not surrender," said one Kryvax leader. "We wounded one of their soldiers 6 times. She kept firing until she died." "They also captured 3 of our supply convoys," said another. "Now our forces on Mektar have no fuel." The head war leader slammed his fist on the table. "We must crush them quickly, before they teach the Confederation more of their ways." Back on the Confederation command station, Maria worked on her next plan. Reports showed the Kryvax were gathering a massive fleet. They were preparing for a major attack. "They're getting desperate," she told her team. "That means we're winning." A message arrived from Earth. More human ships were coming, and they were bringing something new, something that might end the war. The massive Kryvax fleet moved toward the Confederation capital world. 1,000 ships, their dark hulls gleaming in the starlight. They flew in perfect formation, confident in their strength. "They will be here in 6 hours," said the Confederation Supreme Commander. His voice shook with fear. The capital world was home to billions. If it fell, the Confederation might never recover. Every available ship had been called to defend it. Admiral Bill Cooper stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance. It was Earth's newest warship. Inside were weapons the galaxy had never seen before. "All systems ready, sir," reported his second-in-command. "The crew is prepared for battle." Bill nodded. He looked at the display showing the Confederation fleet. 300 ships formed a defensive line in front of the capital. It was not enough to stop the Kryvax. "Send a message to all Confederation ships," Bill said. "Tell them to hold position behind us. We're going in first." The alien commander's face appeared on the screen. "Admiral Cooper, you cannot attack alone. The Kryvax will destroy you." Bill smiled. "We have a few surprises for them. Just be ready to follow when I give the signal." The EDS Defiance moved forward, a single ship against the Kryvax armada. Other human ships followed behind it. 20 ships against 1,000. The Kryvax noticed the small group coming toward them. They did not change course. What harm could a few ships do against their mighty fleet? "They're in range," reported the weapons officer on the Defiance. "Ready to fire." "Show them what humans can do," said Bill. "Fire all weapons." New weapons, designed by human scientists, fired at the Kryvax ships. Beams of energy that changed color as they moved. Missiles that split into hundreds of smaller missiles. The front line of Kryvax ships exploded in balls of fire. The Kryvax fleet broke formation. They had not expected such power. They fired back, their energy weapons hitting the Defiance's shields. Shields at 60%, reported an officer. "We can't take much more." Bill watched as more Kryvax ships moved toward them. "Keep firing. We need to break their center." For an hour, the human ships fought the Kryvax. They destroyed dozens of enemy ships, but there were too many. One by one, the human ships were damaged or destroyed. The Defiance shook as another blast hit it. Alarms sounded on the bridge. "Shields failing," said the officer. "Engine damage reported." Bill saw that the Kryvax command ship was in the center of their fleet. If they could destroy it, the Kryvax might retreat. "Set course for the enemy command ship," he ordered. "Sir, our weapons are almost depleted," said his second in command. "We can't destroy it." Bill's face turned serious. "We're not going to shoot it. We're going to ram it." The crew stared at him in shock. No one in the Confederation had ever used such a tactic. "Prepare boarding teams," Bill continued. "Once we hit them, we're going inside." The damaged Defiance turned toward the Kryvax command ship. It picked up speed, pushing its engines to the limit. The Kryvax saw them coming. They tried to move their command ship away, but it was too slow. The Defiance crashed into its side with a massive explosion. Metal tore and bent. Air rushed out into space, but the Defiance had hit exactly where Bill planned. Its front section was now embedded in the Kryvax ship. "Boarding teams, go," Bill commanded. Human Marines in spacesuits rushed through the holes into the Kryvax ship. They carried special weapons designed to work in space. The Kryvax fought back, but they had never trained for combat inside their own ship. Bill led a team straight to the command center. They fought their way through corridors, room by room. When they reached the command center, the Kryvax war leaders were waiting. They were tall, with 4 arms each holding weapons. "Surrender," Bill said, pointing his gun at them. "Or this ends now." The lead Kryvax snarled. "We do not surrender to lesser beings." Bill didn't waste time arguing. His team attacked, moving faster than the Kryvax expected. In minutes, the command center was secure. Bill sent a message to the Confederation fleet. "This is Admiral Cooper. The Kryvax command ship is ours. Attack now." The Confederation ships surged forward, firing at the confused Kryvax fleet. Without orders from their leaders, the Kryvax began to retreat. The tide of battle had turned. The capital was saved. 1 month after the Great Battle, the Confederation High Council met again. This time, they were not afraid. The Kryvax had been pushed back to the edge of known space. Their leaders were prisoners. Their fleet was scattered. Susan Wright stood before the council. She wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's flag on the shoulder. As the new human ambassador, she listened as the council leader spoke. "We owe our survival to humanity," the leader said. "Without your help, the Kryvax would have destroyed us all." The chamber was filled with representatives from all Confederation worlds. They nodded in agreement. "Therefore, we have voted to change Earth's status," continued the leader. "You are no longer considered a new species. From this day forward, Earth will be classified as a guardian species with all rights and privileges that brings." Susan bowed her head. "We are honored. But what exactly does that mean?" The leader smiled. "It means Earth will have a permanent seat on this council. It means your ships can travel freely through Confederation space. And it means we acknowledge your special role as protectors of peace." Not everyone was happy with this decision. Some council members still feared humans. They remembered Jack Bennett breaking the table. They thought of Admiral Cooper ramming his ship into the enemy. Such actions seemed wild and dangerous. "Humans are too aggressive," whispered one member to another. "What if they turn against us someday?" Others disagreed. "Better to have them as friends than enemies," was the common reply. After the meeting, Susan walked through the halls of the council building. Aliens bowed as she passed. Some looked at her with respect, others with fear. She was used to it now. Her assistant ran up to her. "Ambassador, they're waiting for you in the rebuilding committee." Susan nodded and changed direction. Since the war ended, Humans had been helping rebuild worlds damaged by the Kravax. Earth ships carried supplies. Human engineers fixed destroyed buildings. Human doctors treated the wounded. In the committee room, aliens from 6 damaged worlds waited. They needed help with food, medicine, and safety. "We have 10 ships ready to deliver supplies," Susan told them. "They can leave tomorrow." "Thank you," said one alien with tears in his eyes. "My people were starving. Now they will live." Across the galaxy, humans were changing how the Confederation worked. Maria Sanchez taught military strategy at the Confederation Academy. Dr. Diane Rogers led a science team developing new technology. Humans served on ships, in hospitals, and in schools. But not all humans stayed. Many returned to Earth, carrying knowledge from the stars. Earth was changing too. New buildings rose that used alien designs. New medicines saved lives. New ships prepared for exploration. Commander Paul Harris, now General Harris, looked out the window of his office on Earth. He remembered when the aliens first arrived, how they had looked down on humans. That seemed like a long time ago. "Sir," said his assistant, entering the room, "the Confederation ambassador is here to see you." The alien who entered was Zetkri, the same one who had first come to Earth. He looked nervous. "General Harris," he said, bowing low, "I bring an invitation from the High Council. They request Earth's help with a new problem at the edge of our space." Paul smiled. "Another war?" Zetkri shook his head quickly. No. Just strange signals from beyond our known regions. We thought humans might like to explore with us." "We would be honored," Paul said. "I'll send our best ship." After Zetkri left, Paul laughed to himself. The same aliens who once called humans primitive now came asking for help whenever they faced something unknown. On his desk was a report from the Confederation capital. In the main government building, a new sign had been put up. It was now standard in all Confederation offices throughout the galaxy. The sign had 5 simple words. "Please, don't anger the humans." Paul liked that. It meant the galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans might be new to the stars, but they were not to be underestimated. They could be the best friends you ever had, or the worst enemies. The choice was yours.